So your boy's turning 25 soon, right? I'm turning 25. Right now it's April. I turn 25 next month in May, and I'm not gonna lie, that reality starting to set in a little bit, and it's a little weird. It's a little weird, bro. That kind of has some significance to what I'm about to talk about. Kind of. When I was like a young buck, I always felt like I would just like poof out of existence after I was like turned 20. Why? I don't know. That's just kind of, that was kid brain. And then the closer I got, I was like, hey, I'm 20. Hey, I'm 21. You know, and then you go to college, or I went to college, you know. I was always a good student. You know, I got good grades. I was pretty liked by my teachers and stuff like that. College bound, all that type stuff, right? Now I'm at the big boy job, right? And I've been at the big boy job for about 3 years now. And it's just weird because like as the older I got, the more I kind of realized that there's just a lot kind of thrown on you as a kid and like as you grow up, and there's a lot of like societal expectations and things like that, you know. And I kind of like went through them a little bit, but like, you know, get good grades, get a job, get a house, get married, have kids, all that kind of stuff, right? And to a certain degree, I kind of feel like I followed that path a little bit. Well, not really a little bit, but like I followed it to a good point, but now I'm at like a weird crossroads, right? Hey, get off him. Oh, I killed him. Nice. All right, buddy. Have a good time. Oh my fucking God. Okay. You know, sometimes things don't always go to plan, bro. But yeah, like to a large degree, I follow like at least a pretty basic structure of like go to school, get good grades, get a good job, right? And now it's kind of weird because like I've also seen this a lot in sort of like TikTok and things like that too, where people will talk about like that like 24 to like 29 sort of age range is where like on the one hand you'll see a lot of people start to sort of give up on dreams and aspirations that they may have had when they were like younger. That's also because a lot of people kind of are going through a big metamorphical time in their life right now, right? You know, some people are, like I said, in their big boy or big girl corporate job. Some people are looking for a job. Some people are still at home with their parents. Some people are getting married. Some people are having kids. Some people are having their second or third kid, you know? And I know people in sort of like all these sort of different categories of adulthood. And it's definitely weird because, you know, like everybody's path is different. Everybody wants different things. Everybody has different sort of ideas of what you should be doing, but we're always kind of spoon-fed this idea of what you like, what like someone in this age range should be doing, you know. And it's also weird too because sometimes a lot of that will like contradict depending on you bastard, depending on like where you're getting your information from like maybe an older person or like someone my age or even like someone who's younger than you, you know. Like I'm sure some people will see this who are like 16 to 18 and they're like, I have no idea what I'm going to do after high school. Right? And I'm sure there's somebody who might see this who like were in their 30s or in their 40s and they're like, dude, you're fine, don't worry about it, you're doing great, right? But especially for someone like me who's like kind of in this realm of like content creation and things of that nature, it's always going to be like a big sort of mental battle comparison game type of scenario. And I try my best not to lean into it a lot because like I always tell people, no matter what, as long as I'm having fun and doing what I like to do at the end of the day, then that's all I really care about, because it'll keep me doing this for a long time because I'm having a good time doing it and I'm doing it for me and not because like I feel like I should be doing that. Damn, buddy, sorry. Yeah, but I feel like a lot of times people sort of like you're kind of in two sort of boats. You're like rushing to kind of get things sort of figured out, or you're kind of taking a lot of time because you don't have anything figured out, or you don't know what you want to do at all, right? And I feel like where I'm at in life, I have like a good sort of reign on at least what I want to go for and what I want to achieve, right? Which I feel like is, I mean, for me personally, I feel like it's a good area to be in, right? Some people feel like the opposite, where it's like, hey, you know, that's great, but maybe you feel pigeonholed, or like you feel like you don't have any room to grow or something like that, which I'm not saying I don't, but I know sometimes people having like a path like that can kind of feel like locked down or pointless, you know, where it's like sometimes people need that like freedom or that lack of direction, I'd say, to kind of figure out what they want to do. And it kind of just goes to what I was talking about, like where this age range, that like, I'd even say 20. I know it's like 25 to 30, but I'd say like 20 to 30. You really start to like figure out the path that you will be on, or jump off of, like begin to jump off of the path that you thought you wanted to be on, right? And I'm kind of in that like flux period right now, because like for a long time it's like, hey, you know, I wanted to go to college, I wanted to get a good job, but I always knew in the back of my mind I wanted to be like a content creator. I wanted to be like a streamer, a YouTuber, but I knew I wasn't probably gonna be one of those people that like did it while I was in like school or like whatever, because just of what I had going on at the time, right? And now that I'm like been in my corpo job for about 3 years, I'm starting to see those even now I have something that's like I can work towards outside of my 9 to 5. It's still kind of in a scenario where I'm like, fuck, bro, like I'm very grateful to have my 9 to 5, but it's like, damn, ain't no way this is it, right? Like, am I supposed to just like get promoted and keep getting promoted until like I'm too old to get promoted, so I retire or croak on the job? I don't know, right? And with me being like in that like tech space, I know kind of the game plan is to always sort of try to jump ship to get like a new sort of role or something like that, so you can make more money. Even when I was like looking or in the process of trying to get a job like that, that never really gelled with me, because like I've never really been the person to chase money. Like, I get it, it's important, you know, you needed to kind of survive and stuff like that, but even in a scenario right now, like I make really good money for someone my age, and just for like someone in America in general, right? And I'm not looking to just like go somewhere for a bigger paycheck just cause, right? That's not what my goals and aspirations are. But I know, like, again, being in tech, that's kind of like the play you should make, is to like kind of just keep bouncing around, because that's how you get more money. But it's like, I feel like you're always supposed to, like, when you get into like corpo stuff, you're supposed to chase the promotion, you're supposed to chase the pay raise. But I don't really care about that too much. And that's where that kind of like initial sort of segment comes for me at, is like, now that I've been a corpo guy for about 3 years and I don't want to climb the corporate ladder and I don't really want to chase the pay raise, it's like, what now, right? Whereas like on the one hand, I'm very happy that I have like content creation to kind of chase per se, but on the other hand, it's like, if anyone knows how like content creation goes, unless you get like super lucky, it's probably going to take you a little while before you really see any sort of return on investment, at least financially, especially in the gaming niche, in the gaming space. You know, it's it ain't 2010 2011 no more, where gaming was like top dog. I mean, you can still do a lot with gaming, but it's not as like lucrative as it was before. It can be, but it's not like what it used to be, right? And I'm very fine with like taking the long road, taking the slow road. I'm like, content creation gives me a lot of other fulfillments outside of just like chasing that financial one. But I'm not gonna lie, it does feel a little weird sometimes, where it's like, you know, I'll go to work and I'll like have people that I know who are like, they're trying to go for the promotion, they're trying to go for the pay raise, they're trying to jump companies or something like that. Or, you know, people who are close to me who are getting married, who are having a kid, another kid, you know, everybody, like I have people who are pretty close to me who are on these other paths of life. And sometimes it makes me question, like, am I on the right path of life, or am I just like bullshit? I don't know, right? And I feel like, again, it goes back to that saying of like, you gotta get a good job, you gotta go to school, you gotta get married, you gotta have kids, you gotta get a house, you gotta die, right? Which, like, to a large degree, I've done a lot of that. It's just I don't want to do a lot of the other things that you're saying I'm supposed to do. But sometimes, yeah, it does get to me where it's like, should I be doing this? I don't know, right? And kind of just seeing how my path is sort of diverging from other people that I've grown up with or like come into contact with during this like sort of age range. It's always been like an interesting time because like the thing that I like about this so much is that everybody's on their own path, bro. Like, yeah, no matter what you do, there's gonna be a bunch of people trying to do what you do, whether it's like sports, art, music, you know, corporate lifestyle, family lifestyle, whatever. There's always gonna be someone who is doing what you're doing, has done what you're trying to do, or is trying to get to the point where you're at now. And I always find that very interesting, especially because like I said a little earlier, I'm at like an age range where like a lot of people either like start to diverge from like the plan that they had sort of set out, or like kind of double down or triple down on what they were like starting to do. And I think I'm kind of nestling into that like ladder of like doubling down into what I've been trying to do for a while. But it's always interesting to see kind of like that get challenged and that be a little more open-ended, right? Because there is no like real rule book. As much as whether it's like your parents or boomers or like social media, whatever, as much as like these other sources try to tell you how to live your life, it's kind of really up to you. Like pretty much after you move out of your like folks place, it's really up to you. But like even then, like as early as like 16, 18, bro, it's like you're on the path to make the life that you really want, and there's no real right or wrong way to do it. Obviously there are things and choices that you can make that'll help or hurt you in the long term and short term, but really there's no way to go about it, right? Like I could wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, fuck it, I really want to try to be like a professional athlete or something like that, right? And I could just like change my entire life trajectory of what I want to do based off of the goals I'm trying to achieve, right? Or maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, I really want to start a family, but no one's saying like I have to do that. It's just like now it's up to me. And I feel like it's kind of like a gift and a curse of like, yeah, I really want to do this like content creator stuff, I really want to do this YouTube stuff, because it kind of keeps me on a path that I know that I can see, because I've seen a lot of other people do it. I've seen everybody's life is just going to be different. You'll have like intersecting twines and experiences, and like the Venn diagram will have some overlap with someone else, but you'll never be like a carbon copy of like anyone else, regardless of how hard they try to make you be that way. But it's just not. So, I notice it kind of come into a lot of scenarios where it's like some people feel like they're behind, or they should be doing this or should be doing that. And like I said, sometimes I feel like that, but I think it's definitely important to find some stability within yourself, rather it's like, trying to just enjoy the little things in life, or you have a bigger ambitious goal that you're trying to go for. I think it's really important to try to just be honed and like sound and like what you want to do. Even if it's like you don't know what you want to do, but you're interested in a few things, hey, try some stuff out, and that might lead you to a spot that you never thought you'd get to. Even if you end up like hating the thing that you thought you would want, hey, and probably along the way you found something else that you want to try next, which I think a lot of people also talk about is like the beauty of like your 20s is like, just you have the ability to try shit, because a lot of times you won't be kind of shackled to a lot of other items or responsibilities yet, and you can have the ability to like set those up as early or as late as you want to, because you're in your 20s, you're just kind of starting your life in a lot of ways. Yeah, but like I said, as I get closer to like turning 25 and like that whole like quarter life crisis thing comes around, I'm doing all right so far. But I have my moments of like, what is happening? Am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I wasting my time? Will all this work out? I do know I'm having a good time with what I got going on that I'm trying to achieve. Obviously, there's some annoyances in my life. There'll be annoyances in everyone's life. You know, it'll definitely be an experience, to say the least. Yeah, so I guess happy early birthday, CJ, and you know, we'll look at this again when we turn 25 and maybe when I'm 30, and we'll see how I feel and how different things may or may not be versus when I was 24 and 10 months, 11 months. Whoa, crazy.